Hey, what's up, guys? It's Andrew from travelingguitarist.com. Today I'm talking to you about guitar chords and how they're named and why. This is just going to be a kind of a brief introduction into music theory and the music theory concepts that go into allowing a person to understand how chords are named and why. So by no means is this like a full tutorial on it. I'm just going to do my best to explain it in a way that you'll understand. So let's get into it right away. Chord naming is, as I said in the beginning of the article, chord naming is derived from a few foundational music theory concepts, including the relationship between intervals, whether it's major, minor, augmented, diminished, perfect, in conjunction with scales and key signatures. So in order to understand how chords are built and how they're named, you kind of have to know these music theory concepts. You can't just I would recommend going to musictheory.net and learning key signatures and scales before you try to get into this stuff. And you should also have an understanding of intervals as well. But assuming you know all that, let's just jump into this. I'm going to do my best to explain it to you in a way where you can understand it, even if you don't get those things. Excuse me. So, yeah, chord naming can be kind of complicated at first, especially if you're looking at really sophisticated chords, like I laid one out here, the C7 flat 9, sharp 9, sharp 11, flat 13. Now you're not going to see that chord in pretty much any music because it's too weird. It would sound bizarre. But yeah, let's just get into how the basics of some basic chords. So taking the C major scale, you have the notes I outlined here: C, D, E, F, G, A, B. In the key of C major, there's no sharps or flats, so that's kind of the best scale that you can use to explain this to someone who's just starting out. Every chord is made out of the root third and the fifth, so 1, 3, and 5. So you have C, E, and G. Like taking this notes of C major, you have C, 1, 3, E, and then 5. Fairly intuitive, right? The reason why it's major is because in the key of C major, there's no sharps or flats, so going from C to E is a major interval. Going C to G is a perfect fifth. Obviously the C and the E are a third apart from each other, and then the C and the G are a fifth apart from each other. And yeah, it's a major third and a perfect fifth. Now, if you were to flat the E in there, it would make it a minor third. The E flat doesn't belong to C major, so if you have a C and then an E flat, that's more like a C minor. That belongs to the C minor scale, so that's gonna have a minor sound to it. The G is still a perfect fifth, however. How else do I get in here? Okay, so let's just kind of run through some different examples of how to get these chords and how to understand how they're named. As long as you it's kind of based on a numerical system, so it's not too complicated. I really do a good job of explaining it in the article. I really recommend you check that out because right now I'm kind of trying to figure out the best way to do this. But yeah, so you have let's use the example of a C7 flat 9. So in the key of C major, there is no C7. The C7, the C dominant seventh chord, is a chord that belongs to F major. And usually the dominant seventh is usually the fifth chord in every major key signature, every major scale. So we're on this guy's website, pianokeyboardguide.com, which is great for this. He has the fifth chord laid out right here. This is F major, and you can see that the fifth chord is a C dominant seventh. So in the key of F major and pretty much every other major scale, you have major, which is the first chord, minor, second chord, third chord, minor, fourth is major, fifth is dominant seventh, sixth is minor, and then seventh is diminished. So that's kind of the structure of every major scale. So because there's no C7 in C major, there's no C7. That belongs to F major. Like think about it, F, G, A, B, C. That's the fifth chord of F major, right? So that's the C7 chord. So obviously we're going to be using the F major scale instead of the C major scale to explain the C7 flat 9. So anyway, you have the C7 flat 9, right? What that means is that you have a C major chord but you also have a seventh on top of it. So let's think of it this way. You have C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. But in F major, the B is flat, so it's B flat. So a C7 chord, it's with the seventh note included of F major. So it's C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat. So it's C, E, G, and B flat. Those are the notes of the C7. So you can see it here, C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat. So you're using the first, the third, the fifth, and the seventh of the F major scale, which looks like this: C, E, G, and B flat. That's a C7 or a C dominant seventh chord. It's the fifth chord of the F major scale. So where does the flat 9 come from? Well, you just repeat the notes of that scale over again, and then you get 9. So here's the F major scale starting on C, but going up to the 9th degree. You got C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E. So the D is the 9th note of that scale, right? D right here, and it's a flat 9, so that means you're flatting the D. So what you have is a D flat on top of a C7 chord, which is C, E, G, B flat, D flat. So that's a C7 flat 9, and that's kind of it, you know. And so obviously this is more simple. It gets more complicated, but that's basically the gist of it. Like, you just take the notes of the scale and you just kind of like think. The main thing is to know which chord belongs to which key signature. And then you can just count up from the like the notes of the scale, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. So let's move on. Let's go even further. So now we're going to use the example of the C7 flat 9 sharp 11 flat 13. So still, you know, technically it's a dominant seventh. Well, not really. It's not a dominant seventh chord because you're adding all this other stuff to it now. But it's still kind of like F major. But it's like you're altering these notes in the context of F major. So here's the notes of F major again. You know, here's F. You know, there's 3 Fs in here, so it's like 3 different octaves. So you have the C7 flat 9 chord with the C, E, G, a B flat, and a D flat. But you also have a sharp 9 and a sharp 11 and a B and a flat 13th. So remember the flat 9 was a D, right? It was a D flat. So it also has a sharp 9, so that means it also has a D sharp in this chord. And then so you have a sharp 11. So D was 9, right? So you go D, E, F. So now that's 11. So you got a sharp 11 right there, F sharp, and then a flat 13. Well, what's 2 notes after 11? It's A, so it's flat A. It's A flat, excuse me. So yeah. I just have to fix that in my article. And yeah, that's kind of it. So therefore you have the C, E, G, and the B flat, which is a C7. You add the D flat, which makes it a C7 flat 9. And it's a sharp 9, so you sharp another D on it. And then it's 11, so you sharp an F. And then the 13, you flat it, and it's an A. Right? Like, I hope that kind of was able to illustrate this for you. I know this video didn't do a very good job of like really running through it. So, you know, make sure you check out the article. Like, the article, I really run through it. I even explain it more than once. And that's kind of like the basic gist of it. I'm not a super music theory guy. Like, I'm not an expert on this topic. But, you know, I kind of understand the basics of it. Like, I can figure out a chord from the name and be able to like discern what the notes are and so on and so forth. And that's really all you need. You don't need to be like an aficionado or whatever. But yeah, you know, I'm going to make sure you check out musictheory.net. So go to this website right here. Like, if you want to learn more of the basics of music theory, this is a great website. It's got all kinds of great stuff. You got the staffs, the clefs, major scale, minor scale, scale degrees, key signatures. Like, this is a very good website for the beginning stage of music theory learning. So make sure you check that out. Anyway, I'm going to sign out now, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.